na ako sa
No?
ka ba yung daga?
Nandiyan na?
Ito po sa akin nakita. Ang daga ito. Daga ito. Pusa.
Yung dalawa yung mga Nandiyan na! Wait, kuya!
Bakit? Ito po naman ang daga. Way best.
Ikaw, sino
Ha? Yung mga joke lang, joke lang.
Parang, hindi mo yan pa, grabe, babe. Hindi nga ako mamalo.
Hello.
Yan ka lang kami pala. Pwede mo ba yan sa tulog ka? Tulog ka?
All right, good afternoon. So for those of you who have just joined the call, thank you for connecting early. We'll begin the program shortly. Gentle reminder to please keep yourselves muted so as not to distract other participants. Thank you very much.
don't give a damn.
All right, again, for those who just joined, thank you for connecting early. We will begin the program at exactly 3 p.m. So ayan, if you have any friends who are also intending to participate in today's session, do let them know. Chat them on Facebook Messenger, call them, text them. Once again, we will start at exactly 3 p.m. Please keep yourselves muted so as not to distract other participants. Thank you. All right, time check. It is 2:56. We will be starting the program in 3 minutes now. So for those of you who just joined the call, thank you as well for connecting so early. Excited sigurong manalo ng raffle prizes. Ayan. So gentle reminder to please keep yourselves muted so as not to distract other participants. Thank you. Reminder as well to inform any of your colleagues or friends who also intend to participate in this session to connect to this Zoom call as soon as they can to be eligible for the raffle prizes. Ayan. 3 minutes remaining. All right, and good afternoon, everybody. It is now time to start the session. I hope you are all doing healthy and well. Thank you for taking the time to be here with us today. My name is Andrew Consejero from the UP Beta Epsilon Fraternity, and I will be your host for today's Distinguished Alumni Webinar Series. So before we begin, just a reminder for all of the attendees of the webinar that we would like you to, one, please keep yourselves muted so as not to distract other participants. Secondly, please do be respectful to the host and other participants. Third, please keep your cameras closed. Fourth, be an active listener. And I think that's going to come in very handy for the question and answer portion for each of the talks. Fifth, answer the feedback forms sent to your emails so that you may receive your certificate of participation and any raffle prizes for those who win. Again, I think that's a very important reminder there to please, after the talk or after this session, to answer the feedback form that was sent to your email so that you may receive your certificate of participation as well as any raffle prizes for those who win. Sixth, only registered participants who are present for the entire duration of the Zoom meeting are eligible for the raffle prizes. Do take note that we will be reviewing the attendance duration per raffle winner, and this will be done after the Zoom call. So this is basically going to be done to prove that you were here entirely present. And that's going to be a necessary prerequisite for you to receive your prize. So for those of you who are already here, congratulations. I think that renders you eligible already for our raffle prize. And last but definitely not the least, please do enjoy the webinar. Now, before we begin, we'd first like to take some time to acknowledge the organizations who have helped make this event possible. So the Distinguished Alumni Webinar Series 2021 is hosted in partnership with UP Mining, Metallurgical, and Materials Engineering Association, and in cooperation with UP Chemical Engineering Society and the UP Manila Peer Empowering Peers Society. Thank you all so much for your support and love. The UP Beta Epsilon Fraternity is a non-stock, non-profit, and officially recognized fraternity of the College of Engineering at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. Producing high-quality leaders from architecture and engineering are important to us, but so is developing gentlemen of character and brilliance that extends beyond engineering. Several of our famous projects include Maskipaps, the official after-party of the UP Lantern Parade, Block Booster, a freshman trivia game show, and MSK, an annual performance art show presented during Engineering Week. Aside from our yearly projects, we also have concrete and service projects aimed at helping the UP community in particular and the country in general. And as you can see in the video presentation is a quick rundown again of said projects. All right, well, now that we've cleared that up, let's get started. So what exactly is the Distinguished Alumni Webinar Series, or DAWS? DAWS, formerly known as the Distinguished Alumni Lecture Series, or DALS, is an annual event hosted by the UP Beta Epsilon fraternity to commemorate the fraternity's anniversary. It began as a series of seminars at the UP College of Engineering, featuring prominent fraternity alumni discussing various occupations and industries. And now, given the current situation of the pandemic, this is now being hosted online through a series of webinars. And for its 92nd anniversary, the fraternity is hosting its second Distinguished Alumni Webinar Series that is open to all, primarily for university students, and can be streamed from the comfort of everyone's homes. The webinars will be recorded and streamed live on the UP Beta Epsilon Facebook page and YouTube channel. So you may refer any of your colleagues or friends who did not get to register for this series to just check our live stream after the showing. Additionally, they are hosted via a private Zoom link that is emailed to registered attendees, all of you. And each webinar will feature a question and answer session with each speaker to accommodate attendees on the Zoom call. At each webinar, participants will also have the opportunity to win raffle prizes. You may submit your questions for each of the question and answer portions during and after each of the lectures using the link provided here in the Zoom session. So that will be sent in the Zoom chat later on. All right, so without further ado, our first speaker for today obtained his BS Electrical Engineering degree from the University of the Philippines, Diliman, and his PhD in Electrical Engineering and Telecommunications from the University of New South Wales in Sydney, Australia. He was appointed as the first Director General of the Philippine Space Agency in January 2020, and he is now in charge of the newly formed National Government Agency's Development and Mobilization. Immediately prior to the PhilSA, he served as the director of the Advanced Science and Technology Institute of the Department of Science and Technology. He is a senior member of the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, a member of the Institute of Electronics, Information and Communications Engineers of Japan, and the ASEAN Engineers. He has received several recognitions for his teaching, research, and public service, including the Chancellor's Award for Outstanding Teacher in UP Diliman, the Most Outstanding Electronics Engineer in the Field of Education from the Institute of Electronics Engineers of the Philippines, the 50 Men and Women of Science from the DOST, the 100 Outstanding Alumni Engineers from the UP Alumni Engineers, the 2015 Manila Water Foundation Prize for Engineering Excellence, the 2017 Distinguished Alumni Award in Science and Technology from the University of the Philippines Alumni Association, and last but not the least, regional winner in the 2019 Dangal ng Bayan Awards of the Civil Service Commission. Long list of awards there. Without further ado, let us all welcome Dr. Joel Joseph Marciano Jr., BE 93.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I hope you can hear me well.
Loud and clear.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to thank UP Beta Epsilon and the other engineering organizations who are behind today's Distinguished Alumni webinar series. I do remember this being DALS before, so now it's DAOS. So that's it's good. No? A subtle difference. And to all the officials, residents, and alumni of the UP Beta Epsilon fraternity, all the interested participants in this today's webinar, thank you very much for inviting me. I consider this truly a privilege and honor, this opportunity to talk about the Philippine Space Agency and our quest for value creation in space and in support of our country's thrust to reset, rebound, and recover. So magandang hapon po sa atin lahat. So let me begin now. So I'm here to present the PhilSA, Philippine Space Agency, and I guess my main objective today is to introduce this new agency and also to share how we can assist and engage various groups in support of our country's reset, rebound, and recover thrust. And we can do this essentially by, first of all, mobilizing space-borne information, space-generated, space-based information, and building associated capacity, as well as building a high-value space industry and economy. So let's begin. So, let me first introduce the Philippine Space Agency. It was founded by virtue of the signing of the Republic Act 11363, or the Philippine Space Act. That's the shorter name for it. That was signed by President Duterte on August 8, 2019. So really the anniversary of the Philippine Space Act, which is also the founding anniversary of the Philippine Space Agency, coincides with the anniversary of the Beta Epsilon fraternity. So this Republic Act 11363 mandates the Philippine Space Agency to be the primary policy, planning, coordinating, implementing, and administrative entity of the executive branch of the government that will plan, develop, and promote the National Space Program in line with the Philippine Space Policy. So the PhilSA is it's attached to the Office of the President, for purposes of policy and program coordination and to ensure alignment in national policies and priorities. The PhilSA is headed by a Director General with the rank of a Cabinet Secretary and is appointed, of course, by the President. And the Director General also serves as the Presidential Advisor on space matters. Now, the build-up and mobilization of PhilSA began in earnest in around January, March last year, 2020, which coincided with the onset of the pandemic and the lockdowns because of my assumption into office. And as you can see, it's happening, our mobilization is happening in the midst of combating public health and economic challenges brought about by COVID-19. This has actually made this venture even more compelling and engrossing, yet humbling and fulfilling at the same time. We believe, of course, that a time of challenges is also a time that is replete with opportunities. So we continue to reshape and enhance the responsiveness and relevance of our programs. So more than ever, we endeavor to be more innovative and resourceful and ingenious in bringing space-based and space-enabled solutions to bear on the challenges being faced by the country. Okay, so space science and technology and applications are playing an increasingly important role in the development of nations. With the PhilSA as a primary central agency of government handling all space science, technology, and applications matters, it is mandated to work on certain key development areas. You see there on the polygons on the right-hand side of the screen, these KDAs help ensure the state's sustained progress. And these include national security and development, hazard management, climate studies, space research and development, space education and awareness, space international cooperation, and space industry and capacity building. Now, there is a Philippine Space Council, which was created also by the Philippine Space Act. The Philippine Space Council will serves as the principal advisory body for the coordination and integration of policies, programs, and resources affecting space science and technology applications. It's chaired by the President of the Philippines, who may designate the Executive Secretary. The vice chairs of the Philippine Space Council are the Secretary of Science and Technology and the Secretary of National Defense. The other members include the Chair of the Senate and House Committee on Science and Technology, the Secretary of National Economic Development Authority, Secretary of Finance, Foreign Affairs, Agriculture, Environment and Natural Resources, Trade and Industry, and the Secretary of Information and Communications Technology. The Director General of the PhilSA serves as the Secretariat, the head Secretariat of this Philippine Space Council. The PSC has met 3 times already, twice last year, and the third one in April this year, and we're going to meet again later this year. And in these meetings, the PSC supported and endorsed the current and medium-term personnel resources and near-term programs of the Philippine Space Agency. So with the support of the Philippine Space Council, the PhilSA intends to efficiently undertake its functions in promoting and advancing space science and technology in the Philippines. These functions include policy planning and coordination, improving public access and resource sharing to space infrastructure information, research and development, education and capacity building, international cooperation, and industry development. So speaking of industry development, let me now try to describe what the so-called space economy is. So the space economy is defined as the full range of activities and the use of resources that create value and benefits to human beings in the course of exploring, researching, and understanding, managing, and utilizing space. This is according to the OECD. So one way of describing the space economy is by looking at how its breakdown in terms of so-called upstream and downstream components, as well as the so-called value chain. The upstream deals with scientific and technological foundations of space programs, manufacturing, and production of space infrastructure. This includes building components of satellites, subsystems, systems, integrating them or putting them together, testing them, and launching them. This area, therefore, deals with the development and operation of rockets, spaceports, and satellites and such related facilities. You hear of companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, Thales, Airbus, Boeing Aerospace. They participate in the upstream sector of the space economy. The downstream sector, on the other hand, deals with the daily operations of space infrastructure and so-called down-to-earth activities that directly rely on the provision of space capacity to exist and function. There are downstream verticals that include applications such as Earth observation, telecommunications, navigation, surveillance, positioning, the internet. The operation of ground stations somewhat straddles the middle of upstream and downstream as they serve as an interface between the utilization on the ground and the infrastructure in space. So many sectors take advantage of space data and information coming from satellites, with hundreds of billions of dollars of value in the global space economy. These sectors include defense and security, agriculture, marine, energy, and transport. In 2019, the size of the global space economy was estimated by Bryce reports to be approximately 366 billion US dollars. This is broken down into 17.4 billion for upstream and 253.3 billion for downstream, which is clearly the segment accounting for larger growth. So if you add up those numbers, they don't exactly add up 17.4 and 253.3 to 366, because there are a portion of that which corresponds to government budgets and human spaceflight programs, or so-called non-satellite industry, amounting around 95.2 billion. So the programs of the PhilSA and our mobilization is happening against the backdrop of increasing commercialization and privatization in the use of small satellites and other space activities over the past decade. As you can see, such as those exemplified by companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and many other so-called new space enterprises. So in our country, we are making efforts to be able to contribute to this value chain in terms of building systems and infrastructure and operating them, processing the data from satellites and adding value to it, and creating advanced products and services so that they can reach end users and create economic benefit. Of course, these are challenges for a new space agency, but we are committed to overcoming these challenges and contributing positively. Now, in light of that, when we think of space and space agencies, the usual images that come to mind are of astronauts and sending space probes to explore the far reaches of outer space, among others. These are valid and natural, and they have a place in the collective consciousness of humankind that yearns to understand our origins and our place in the universe. Sending satellites and spacecraft into orbit, however, does not necessarily always entail an exploration or outward spectating towards the vast expanse of space. It can also be used to put an artificial and helpful eye to view the lands and oceans below on Earth from above. That is for Earth observation. So in our country, our satellites and their cameras are currently trained back down towards Earth to gather data about our natural and built environment. The data gathered is computed upon and transformed into information so we can make more informed and intelligent action here on Earth. So in that sense, these satellites that generate and compute data are like computers, and sending them into space, we say, is akin to sending or putting computers in orbit. So it should be easy to appreciate how space improves our lives. Just as how we have come to depend on computers on Earth, satellites are computers placed hundreds of kilometers above us. Being there gives them a high and strategic vantage point, which makes them more powerful, helpful, and effective in impacting our lives. So this slide shows some of the space investments made by our country through the efforts of the Department of Science and Technology prior to the PhilSA's establishment in terms of space and ground infrastructure. So these capabilities that you see here represent important components of the space value chain. Since 2016, 4 small satellites through the efforts of Filipino engineers in collaboration with Japanese universities have been put into orbit. These are Diwata-1 and Diwata-2 scientific Earth observation microsatellites, as well as 2 nanosatellites, Maya-1 and Maya-2. And later this month, hopefully, we look forward to deploying 2 more nanosatellites or CubeSats, Maya-3 and Maya-4. that's very important in the sense that we have built them from Philippine universities now, talking about Maya 3 and Maya 4, which means that we are now taking what we learned from other countries and implementing them in our local universities and proliferating them to other local institutions. So these satellite development activities on the left, you see, are complemented by ground facilities across the country. You see on the right that communicate with these Earth observation satellites of the Philippines as well as of those of other countries that we have access to or we subscribe to. There's a facility for high-performance computing located in Metro Manila called CORE Computing and Archiving Research Environment, hosted by the Advanced Science and Technology Institute, which is the closest to a national supercomputer, perhaps in our country. So the PhilSA, with its targeted home in New Clark City, is planning to expand such high-performance computing facilities as it is an engine of growth and development for a knowledge economy. The space and ground infrastructure equip the Philippines with a capacity to create and add value from space to the creation of competitive industries in the upstream, in the generation, processing, analysis, and distribution of vital geospatial information in the downstream. So we're building on the foundation and momentum created by prior project-based activities by the DOST, and we shall carry these forward to create even more opportunities for the country to benefit from space. I should emphasize value creation from space is integral to PhilSA's mission. Okay. So with the PhilSA as our National Space Agency, it's mandated to work on certain key development areas, which I mentioned earlier. Specifically, through the key development area in hazard management and climate studies, we aim to bring space data, information, and infrastructure to bear on climate change adaptation, mitigation, and disaster risk reduction. For the national security and key development area, we aim to contribute space applications to our country's flagship initiatives for economic development and for achieving security, justice, and peace. For the space industry capacity building key development area, we bring our space capabilities and resources to the discussions with regard to infrastructure and economic development programs. In line with the country's thrust for reset, rebound, and recover, it's important to gain an appreciation or perhaps some kind of baseline on the current economic contribution of space-related capabilities to our country. In particular, we refer to the use of space-enabled data, satellite images, for example, or geospatial information for Earth and marine observation, or EMO. This is one of the downstream applications. According to a 2019 Australian government report for APEC, the value of Earth and marine observation to the Philippine economy in 2019, this is pre-pandemic, is estimated at $657 million. The estimation of the current and future value of Earth marine observation is based on an economic model that was built around three components. Number one, the potential value added delivered by Earth and marine observation for each industry. Also in two non-market applications, which are weather forecasting, forecast value to consumers, and disaster management cost savings. The second is that this valuation or estimation is based on an economy's absorption rate, which depends on its level of development and the advancement of its industries. And third, on the structure of the economy, which accounts for some industries that benefit more from Earth and marine observation technologies than others. So let me just quickly run through the breakdown of the $657 million economic value contribution in the pie chart that you see on the right. So let's say for disaster management, the use of satellite images and other geospatial information, they are used for achieving preparedness and better response, and for saving lives, property, and livelihoods that would otherwise have been lost because of natural disasters. So currently, that's estimated at $21 million, which is really an underestimate because it is hard to put a value on lives saved or and such things. Right? So the applications, on the other hand, the applications that flow directly through the population, measured through willingness to pay, for example, phone applications on our mobile phones for transportation, navigation, food delivery, logistics and recreation. That's $291 billion in consumer willingness to pay. Finance, for example, insurance, assessing financial viability, $1 billion US. The use of satellite images and geospatial information for health, such as mapping disease outbreaks, monitoring changing risk patterns associated with changes in climate and vector adaptation, and in issuing health warnings related to extreme weather events, $4 million. For transport, down here, optimizing logistics, tracking fleet movements, and in assessing weather and climate-related risks, approximately $150 million. So the list goes on. Let me also talk a little bit about mining, for example, there, used mainly for ensuring environmental compliance, for exploration, for remote operations, and in managing weather-related risks, approximately $40 million. So these numbers we should add, according to the report, are rough estimates, and some may reflect very conservative underestimation. Now, the important thing is that with targeted investments, the important thing is that this kind of information coming from satellite images and geospatial information is already contributing to our economy, and it's part of an invisible infrastructure that we hardly or barely notice. With targeted investments, the economic contribution of Earth and Marine observation to the Philippines' gross domestic product can grow to, according to the report, $5.4 billion US by 2030 and to $6.6 billion US dollars with collaboration across other APEC economies. What the numbers show here and the future value represent opportunities that should encourage our country and encourage in particular the Philippine Space Agency, together with local R&D institutions, industry and private sector partners to participate, invest, grow, and collaborate in the global commercial space value chain. In the succeeding slides, we will cite a couple of examples of these use cases that demonstrate various levels of absorptive capacity in the country, in line with our objective of promoting the development and use of space science and technology applications across all of society for reset, rebound, and recover. So let's begin with space data for reset, rebound, recover for climate change adaptation, mitigation, and disaster risk reduction. So our space capabilities through space-borne data and information are increasingly vital tools in addressing hazard management and climate studies. So satellite data is crucial for disaster response operations, shown in this example. Here, satellite data was used by emergency responders and rescue workers during a landslide in Naga, Cebu in 2018. The built infrastructure, such as houses and buildings, are identified through high-resolution satellite images in an automated and unsupervised manner using artificial intelligence techniques employed by Filipino teams. The overlaid satellite image taken after the landslide, shown here in the middle, clearly shows the extent of the landslide and how it has overlapped with the locations of the houses. So with this map, first responders were able to pinpoint the location of houses that were buried underneath the landslide, helping to enable timely rescue and recovery. So this is one example of how our investments in satellites and the capability to process data from satellites and to turn them into operational information and into the hands of people who make decisions in the field and who act on it in the field has materialized. So clearly, this is something that our country, a capability that our country should continue to nurture and expand. Shown in the picture is how we mobilize space data before and after typhoons. By getting satellite images of the areas before and after the typhoon, our computers can do the change detection and determine areas which have been flooded, for example. The output is shown in the map on the bottom right here, where streaks of blue indicate areas of probable flooding. So these maps, this information is provided to the Office of Civil Defense and the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council to help arrive at better estimates of the extent of damage from the disaster, allowing us to allocate proper resources for rehabilitation, response, and recovery. Now, space capabilities through spaceborne data and information support national security and development. For example, enhanced maritime domain awareness enables security and sustainability of marine resources that provide livelihood for Filipinos, sources of energy for the country, among others, as well as safe passage of ships for international trade and commerce. So the image on the left shows the detected changes in the coastline of Pag-asa Island. The image in the middle shows detected ships, and the detection of the ships is being done through artificial intelligence and machine learning techniques. The images on the right shows detected ships in the territorial waters from a composite of satellite images. So establishing a system that regularly monitors priority areas for protection and safety can be achieved through readily available satellite data and machine learning methods. Again, these are capabilities that our country has been investing in and should continue to develop and nurture. So you can use satellite images and machine learning techniques to detect objects. And when you detect objects, you can also detect changes in those objects. So more on object detection, there's increasing activity in the downstream processing of satellite images using AI and machine learning. So this slide shows current work on detection of built infrastructure, such as roads, which are used to provide baseline information in preparing for disasters and in assessing the state of big ticket government infrastructure projects. Also shown in the bottom left are preliminary results of efforts in applying AI techniques in detecting various tree species for the purposes of conducting inventory, crop mapping, and health assessment. Now, the development of upstream space capabilities, such as small satellites and related technologies, support our space industry capacity building key development area. So this in turn supports reset, rebound, recover by helping enhance and modernize the country's physical infrastructure. In particular, our efforts in building satellites in the Philippines recognizes satellites as vital components of a national information infrastructure. Now, to this end, our efforts are captured by our Advanced Satellite Development Flagship, which we call the Advanced Satellite Development Flagship. We gave it a nickname. We call it Build, Build, Build in Space. It is a roadmap of satellite development across different tiers of or layers of complexity, from nanosatellites there in the bottom, or CubeSats like Maya 1 and 2, which we intend to share and disseminate with universities and high schools, to microsatellites like Diwata 1 and Diwata 2, and perhaps soon Diwata 3, that are experimental and which can push the scientific envelope, to larger operational level satellites like the recently announced MULA, or Multispectral Unit for Land Assessment satellite series, to even larger ones that are subject of mission partnerships with other nations, and also through potential public-private partnerships. So just a little quickly about the MULA satellite. So it's expected to be launched, we hope, in 2023. Multispectral Unit for Land Applications is a multispectral, wide swath, medium resolution imager that can capture an area of about 120,000 square kilometers in a single pass. For perspective, our country's total land area is approximately 300,000 square kilometers. So this satellite has the capability to monitor terrestrial ecosystems and land resources that include crop nutrient monitoring, crop growth and stress detection, crop expansion, and other land use and other land cover change analysis. So it will also be useful for wide area disaster assessment, forest management, coastal monitoring, and other environmental applications. Now, let me emphasize, we are not buying a satellite. We are building it. We are building it, not buying it. So as we build this satellite, we are also spurring local industry development by cascading the know-how and technologies we gain and cascading them to local manufacturing of succeeding satellites. With space becoming more accessible through increased commercialization activities, we can take a slice of the global economic pie by enabling our local electronics, semiconductor, materials, mechanical, and aerospace manufacturing industries to also move up the value chain. So that is why we do this. And by building space technologies, it leads to local know-how transfer and retention that we can use to spur local industry development. So our country has actually flown homegrown technologies like radios, computing units, sensors, and antennas in space. They are working very well, which means that they now have space heritage. As a consequence, the value of these systems increase exponentially. So the know-how and experience will enable the country to build difficult, high reliability products that work well in harsh environments such as outer space. So if we can build it for space, we can build it for other environments like geothermal wells, mines, undersea exploration, essentially in areas where we put stuff and we rather forget about them because it would be extremely difficult or impractical to go back and fix them. So we aim to continue our efforts in building satellites because there is much value in doing so. These capabilities will be at the core of differentiated and defensible products and services that help make up globally competitive and progressive industries for our country. So when we build systems for space, we build industrial capabilities for creating high reliability, high value products and jobs. Sorry, this was supposed to be an animation. Forgot to click it. Okay. Take a look at it for a while. Now, moving on. Okay. So further on supporting national security and development, here we consider the renewed thrust to open up the mining sector and to promote responsible and sustainable mining practices that create economic opportunities, especially in the countryside. This is captured in the recent issuance of Executive Order 130, series of 2021. Satellites and space data can be used to monitor the compliance of mining operators from extraction to rehabilitation. So the information that we get from satellites will aid in operating mining sites that will have comparatively lower impacts in the environment. With advancements in technology, we can perform sustainability impact assessments of specific metals and minerals in supply chain. We can also use this data to detect potential disasters in the area, and the same data and techniques can be used to detect illegal mining activities. So we are also moving towards facing our neighbors and by forging international partnerships on space cooperation. So an example is our recent memorandum of understanding with the United Nations Office for Outer Space Affairs, or UNOSA, and the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, or JAXA. So the space cooperation represents an important framework for cooperating in space applications, satellite development, space environment utilization, capacity building for space technology, space policy and legislation, space science and space exploration, and space industry promotion. So we bring to these cooperation agreements our people and their experience, along with our investments in ground infrastructure and capabilities for processing, analyzing, and generating actionable information from spaceborne data. Together, we will create even more value from these activities by working with international partners, and we can cascade them further into society. We couple our efforts in building satellite technologies upstream and downstream with capacitating our current and future workforce. Through know-how transfer and retention mechanisms, we equip our knowledge workers, the scientists and engineers, with the necessary skills needed to advance our space technology programs. Through our space education and awareness program, we aim to spark curiosity and entice the younger generation to pursue science and technology-related careers. Moreover, at PhilSA, we conduct training programs to help other agencies. In this case, on the right, we highlight the training series in artificial intelligence and satellite data for the Philippine Navy. So we would be happy to discuss these opportunities with other groups, other agencies of government, opportunities for these kinds of trainings. We note that there have been prior trainings for other agencies like the Mapping Agency, NAMRIA, and the Philippine Statistics Authority, conducted by our friends from the Department of Science and Technology, and specifically my former agency, the Advanced Science and Technology Institute. So what this is saying is that the PhilSA is now open for business. We've opened shop, and one of the things we're trying to do is look inwards into our country and sharing this capability with different groups, so that a better appreciation and utilization of space science and technology can be had all over our country. So let me summarize. PhilSA contributes to reset, rebound, and recover thrust by efficiently providing, building capacity, and utilizing spaceborne data and information, building a high-value space industry and economy as well. So these efforts contribute to various fronts: economic development, infrastructure, climate change adaptation, mitigation, disaster risk reduction, and security, justice, and peace. Now, as one more point before I go, just want to share with you, this is the PhilSA logo, and as you can see, it's inspired by various components such as the overview effect, which is the experience of being confronted by the image of the Earth's fragility and smallness amidst the expansive outer space, the expanse of outer space. According to astronauts, this is a profound understanding of the big picture. And these are the other components. So space, which is the black background, and the sun and 3 stars, obviously, of course, this is borrowed from our flag, our pale blue dot, which is our home, and this trail, which hopefully shows how a space agency in the Philippines is a trailblazer. And well, maybe before I go, I just want also to insert this. We are PhilSA. The acronym is PhilSA, or maybe appropriately the nickname, not PSA. PSA refers to our friends from the Philippine Statistics Authority, and they are the central statistical authority of the Philippine government on primary data collection. We know PSA for various things like processing birth certificates, etc., and other important documents and economic data. But we should know, but did you know that they also use space data? The Philippine Statistics Authority is currently implementing the Artificial Intelligence for Census of Agriculture and Fisheries, or AI for CAF, which is a joint research collaboration with the Department of Science and Technology, Advanced Science and Technology Institute. And they use AI models on satellite images to detect crops such as sugarcane, rice areas, and conduct an inventory of fisheries and aquaculture. Fish pens, fish cages, fish traps, fish ponds. The PSA uses satellite images and uses techniques to gain information from satellite images to do an inventory and to count and map our country's resources. So it's part of a census. And I'd like to encourage everyone, there's more examples to share. You can look at the PhilSA website, philsa.gov.ph or space.gov.ph, and we look for Our Place in Space. It's a 3-volume compilation of space science and technology and applications in our country. Volume 1 is about how we're using space data. Volume 2 is about building space technologies. And Volume 3 is about capacity building, outreach, and sustainability. So please go take a look, and there are many more examples to share. Among the examples that we are sharing also in our website is the use of space data for monitoring the natural and built environment pre-pandemic, during pandemic, and as we emerge from the pandemic. So there is a COVID-19 space data dashboard that's publicly accessible. Now, this does not contain a comprehensive collection of data. What it is meant to do is really provide a window into the capability of our engineers, scientists, and our researchers in mobilizing space-based information for monitoring the environment. So we look at things like air quality, water quality, the number of ships docked in ports, and also night lights, as well as the state of roads and vegetation. So I encourage everyone to look at this space data dashboard. So that's my last slide, and I'd like to leave by reiterating the vision and mission of your Philippine Space Agency. The PhilSA envisions a Filipino nation bridged, uplifted, and empowered through the peaceful uses of outer space. And our mission is to promote and sustain a robust Philippine space ecosystem that adds and creates value in space for and from Filipinos and for the world. Thank you for your attention. That's our contact information. Thank you.
All right. So sa mga attendees natin, it is not PSA, it is PhilSA. So thank you very much again, Doc M, for that wonderful lecture. I think it really shared a lot of exciting news for those who are interested in the space field. Kasi we almost always think of it as just disaster management or risk management, but you showed throughout the presentation that there are implications in consumer, transport, utilities, agriculture, and even mining sectors. Ayan. So there's going to be a lot of, as you mentioned, value creation. So that just means more opportunities for us engineers at UP to join kind of this space. And I think that's, again, you said it all, that space science is only going to be playing a bigger role in the future, with you at the helm, siguro. So now we'll be going to the question and answer portion, where we will be addressing any questions that our attendees may have for you. Again, attendees can use this opportunity to submit any questions that you might have had from the talk using the link that is going to be sent in the Zoom chat. Ayan, so actually it was just sent now. You may send your questions there. Quick reminder that we will be having 10 minutes for this Q&A. So I guess on your end, Doc M, it's up to you how long you want to spend on any question. But yeah, we have 10 minutes for this section. All right, and I think the screen's going to be, yeah. Okay. And so actually, we already have 7 questions from our participants. So firstly, since PhilSA was established in 2019 and most of its projects include microsatellites, may we ask if there are any plans to launch bigger satellites with more capabilities than those now in orbit?
Okay. Thanks for the question. Yes, in terms of plans, there are already ongoing discussions on the next generation of satellites or next round of satellites. It's all part of course, it's not something that is confined to PhilSA. We have been undertaking consultations with different groups, and we do that through a so-called, one of the instruments we're using to do that is through a so-called decadal survey, where we talk to various groups in terms of their requirements for the use of infrastructure, space infrastructure. So already itong si Mula satellite is bigger than Diwata 1 and Diwata 2. And it's over 100 kilos, where Diwata 1, Diwata 2 was approximately 50 kilograms. Now, the reason for going bigger is not necessarily because it's better. There are various reasons for building bigger satellites. Well, it's of course, capability. There's always a trade-off, as any engineer would know. The trade-offs always, we live and breathe trade-offs. So one of the things that is entailed by having bigger satellites is the cost in terms of building it and also launching it. But one idea is, of course, when building bigger satellites, is we can have larger payloads with more capability and more specialized capability in these satellites. So yes, the short answer is yes, and we look forward to that. Thank you.
All right, exciting stuff. Next question, please. Okay, what advice would you give to prospective students or graduates interested in joining the Philippine Space Agency?
All right. Well, first of all, be good at what you do. Enjoy what you're doing. If you're a mechanical engineer or mining engineer, metallurgical engineer, if you talk about engineering, you're trained to be that kind of engineer. So don't forget that. Be good at it, and possibly, consider advanced degrees. Do your master's and even a terminal degree like a PhD. But really, also that's not enough, because we need to work with other people. It's not just us engineers working together. Well, of course, a mechanical engineer and electrical engineer have plenty to talk about, especially with satellites. When or the payload engineer wants to put a new camera, and then a mechanical engineer says, "We do not fit. We have to have a bigger structure." And then the electrical engineer says, "How do you intend to power that? How much? We have limited power generation with solar panels, etc." So they talk. But then also we need to talk to other people, like the people who communicate for us, the people who study the impact of our technologies, economists, people who build policy, who craft policy that would create an enabling environment for what we do, for the opportunities that we create. So that's summarized in this concept called being a T-shaped person. So the vertical bar denotes your depth of expertise. So be as good as you can be, even seek advanced knowledge. be at the edge of knowledge and not be confined to what we learn in school. Of course, you learn from things from the workplace, but also go for that advanced degree. But again, we should have the horizontal bar, which denotes other skills like teamwork, communication, project management, and basically empathy for people who work in other areas because we need them, and when we need them to build bigger things. So when we work together, you have a front. Instead of working at it alone, you create a wide front, which we can attack and confront even bigger societal scale problems. So by working with other T-shaped persons, we can solve bigger problems.
Okay, got it. And I think that really ties in, Siguro, with what you mentioned earlier about trailblazing, right? So it only makes sense that, getting best of the best, specialized, and at the same time, good communication skills. Okay, next question, please. Okay, different question. So what are your opinions on the claims that PhilSA should not have been prioritized and that the funds should have been used for poverty alleviating projects? Ooh.
Well, thanks for this question. This is always a very meaningful question. I don't think we can really detach what we do in technology. Let me broaden it in terms of science and technology from the problem of or solving poverty. If you look back, siguro ganito na lang, no? You look at the things that we're using now that we depend on so much. Mobile phones, the internet. They were not invented yesterday. They were not invented 2 years ago, not even 5, 10, 15 years ago. The history of these things that we come to depend on now, and among other things for helping solve poverty and alleviating poverty, go back a long time. And so we talk about the internet. Somebody in the 1950s proposed a protocol for communication. Says, okay, I have information, I want to send it from point A to point B, and this is the technique. And some people laughed at it. Some people said, no, it will not work. But then eventually somebody was convinced to invest in the idea. And imagine if we were there at that point and we're asked to pull out our wallet and say, do you believe enough in this idea to put out some money and fund it? Then if that group did not do that then 50 years ago, 20 years ago, we would probably not have the internet as we know it now. And we probably, who knows? So I think a space agency, science and technology in general, are really investments. We have to do both, no? And as investments, we build up the current capabilities so we can solve current problems, but let us not lose sight of where we want to be and where we want to go. Because if we lose sight of that, then we leave our destiny to others. No, siguro, maybe we will not be lining up for vaccines, but we actually would be giving vaccines to other countries if we had invested decades ago in such capabilities. And you see how important it is now. So who knows where it will go? And it's perfectly okay to actually not know where things can lead because we know there are immediate benefits, such as the mobilization of space data information and trying to help create valuable industries. But who knows where else it can go? Just as those guys who 50 years ago thought of this protocol and did not know it would lead to the internet, right? So that's what I have to say about that.
Thank you, Doc M. I think that was a very complete answer, actually. And so we'll try to speed run a couple of more questions. We are running out of time. Next question, please. What measures will it take to see the Philippines as a leading player in the space technology industry?
Well, very briefly, we need to come together, not just engineers and scientists, but people. Of course, our government has already had the foresight in establishing the Philippine Space Agency. Of course, its resources also have to continually be provided to these efforts for space agency and for science and technology in general. So yes, it's government support, and it's engaging the public and continuously communicating the message that this is an area which, as a country, is valuable to us and we should participate in and benefit from and also contribute to. So we want to promote more opportunities for young people to get into this area by building scholarship, providing scholarships, and also engaging international partners. So that's another thing that we are taking into account, is learning from other countries that have gone before us, no? in building space agencies and space programs. So again, it's a quest for value creation and building a vibrant and local space ecosystem that benefits Filipinos. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that. Unfortunately, we are now actually over time with the Q&A section. For the questions that were left unanswered, I hope you don't mind, Doc M, if we forward some of those questions to you, and we'll be sure to forward the relevant answers through our channels as well. Okay. So now, as a token of appreciation for the lecture of our first speaker, Dr. Joel Joseph Marciano Jr., we would like to award him with a certificate which reads, I quote, "The UP Beta Epsilon Fraternity presents this certificate of appreciation to Dr. Joel Joseph Marciano Jr., BE 93, for sharing his valuable knowledge and expertise on the Philippine Space Agency, value creation in space for reset, rebound, and recover during the Distinguished Alumni Webinar Series held on August 14, 2021, signed by Jose Rafael Harlos, Rendel Para, Sydney C., all co-chairmen of the 92nd anniversary of UP Beta Epsilon." So thank you very much again. If you could do just a quick photo shoot, siguro for our website as well. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, cheese. All right, so thank you very much for that again. Okay, without further ado, we will now have a quick 5-minute coffee break before moving on to our next speaker to allow for more people to join the session. You can also take this time to have some merienda, get some water, get something to drink, and maybe something to bring to our next section of the session also as well. So in 5 minutes, we will resume. See you all in a bit.
been a while, but honestly, how can one let go when all my senses tell us right to walk down the streets I walk with you? This time around, much older now, I guess we both know that we're gonna prove them wrong. See what's so obvious, we both keep holding on, 'cause when our minds collide, we come alive. 'Cause when our minds collide, we come alive. 'Cause when our minds collide, we come Look at us now. We grew apart just to find a way back with new wiser hearts. The truth is that I never known. We're gonna prove them wrong. See what's so obvious.
All right, so once more, the Distinguished Alumni Webinar Series 2021 is hosted in partnership with UP Mining, Metallurgical and Materials Engineering Association and in cooperation with UP Chemical Engineering Society, as well as UP Manila Peer Empowering Peers Society. Thank you all for your love and support. All right, so without further ado, welcome back everyone and good afternoon to all of our new attendees. I hope that the coffee break has refreshed your senses because we have a lot more in store for you today. Now, our next speaker is a serial entrepreneur, and he was only 24 when he co-founded PayMongo in 2019. He is now its Chief Commercial Officer. Before PayMongo, he established Altitude Technologies, which is one of the top retailers for drones in the Philippines and the exclusive distributor of various photo-related brands. He got into the financial tech industry upon realizing, along with his PayMongo co-founders, how hard it was to set up online payments here in the Philippines. Citing the amount of financial services that have yet to be filled in by traditional financial institutions, he sees great opportunities for fintech companies in the country and also finds it thrilling to contribute to this in even the smallest of ways. As PayMongo's CGO, Luis also leads the implementation of strategies to ensure that the company meets its growth goals and, in turn, helps grow the internet economy of emerging markets. He is most passionate about developing the local startup ecosystem and spends his downtime helping other startups get off the ground. Luis is a nature junkie. He loves the ocean and enjoys going on hikes during his free time. Again, let us all welcome Mr. Alejandro Luisia, BE16.
Hi guys. Sorry, let me share my screen. You guys see this? Yeah.
Clear.
All right. Sige. Okay, cool. Great. Thanks for having me, guys. It's an honor to be part of this talk alongside Dr. Marciano. Sorry if you guys can excuse me. I won't do video muna. It's actually 4 a.m. here I am at. So yeah, I'm just squatting in the hotel lobby. But yeah, thanks so much for having me, Beta. I guess today I could share a bit about PayMongo, how we started, what we're doing, and you know where we're headed. I'll try to keep it casual, and if you guys have some questions afterwards, would love to answer them. Right. So yeah, hi guys, I'm Luis. I studied computer science while I was there in UP, and I'm now one of the co-founders of PayMongo. And in a nutshell, if you guys aren't familiar with the company, the easiest way that I can sum up what we do is that we create tools so that businesses can get paid online. Although with the current state of the company, we're currently expanding this definition to other financial services as well, for online businesses, right? So getting paid online for a business is actually one of the most fundamental things for you to do commerce online, and it's traditionally very hard. No? So I guess I could share a bit about how we started, and our journey so far. Andrew, are you able to see the change of slides? Sorry.
Yes, all working.
Okay,
We see a
great.
timeline now.
So, right, great. Yeah. So just a brief background, Bento lang on how we started and sort of how we got here. You know, so we started in just June of 2019. So we're a pretty early company. We're just over 2 years old. And while today, as the title of the talk says, kind of like our mission is really to grow the internet economy of Philippines and emerging markets through providing different financial services. We really started with just a simple pain point back then. No? So I was doing different online businesses, even from my time there in UP. And the key pain point that we wanted to solve, or that we realized, is that there was no available solution for entrepreneurs or developers like myself to start accepting payments online. So to accept credit card payments or e-wallet payments, it was very hard, right? And one of the things that made us realize that this could be something that we could work on, or a company that we could launch, is that I remember signing up for one of the sort of legacy payment services back then, and they lost our papers. It was very tedious to sign up with the platform, and that's when we realized with my co-founders that, hey, maybe there might be an opportunity to start a company that was focused on making payments accessible for entrepreneurs of all kind, right? Maybe a website where you wouldn't need to fill out forms and send it manually. Everything was done online, and that would cater to a larger set of entrepreneurs, right? And today we even accept individual entrepreneurs. So those who are not registered by the BIR or the DTI can sign up with us and start accepting credit card payments online, right? So we really wanted to create something that would create sort of financial inclusion and would allow people like ourselves. So essentially solving a pain point that we ourselves experienced, right? So we started that in June 2019, and we applied to Y Combinator, which is a accelerator based in the US, and that was sort of the start of our company. Just a couple of months after we applied, we got in and we raised our seed round of funding from Y Combinator and Stripe, alongside Peter Thiel and some other US investors. Later or early the following year, we became a regulated PSP entity. And that same year, in 2020, we raised $12 million in additional Series A funding, also from Stripe, one of our investors, and Bedrock Capital. So from 2019 to 2020, it was really a phenomenal year for the company. Of course, COVID hit, which is obviously a bad thing, but it also shifted. If there's anything good that came out of it, is that it really accelerated the growth of the internet economy, and opened up opportunities for a lot of people to start their own businesses, right? So we saw our company grew 45x from 2019 to 2020. And today we power over 15,000 businesses, right? So it's definitely been a fascinating journey. I'd love to answer questions if you have any later on. Yeah. So yeah, like from what I said, from trying to solve a simple pain point, which is just we wanted to have an easier way to get paid because we were developers and entrepreneurs ourselves. Our thinking around the products that we build and financial inclusion really evolved around how we wanted to define the mission and vision of the company. And so today our mission is to build the online payments infrastructure of the Philippines and Southeast Asia and increase the GDP of the internet. So the way that we see the products that we're building is that they aren't only substitutes, mere substitutes for the products that we wanted to replace when we started out, but they could also be products that would enable new entrepreneurs to actually get started online. And we've seen that with the pandemic, how our products were able to get people who might have never considered going online or conducting their business online finally do it. And our goal is to be able to produce more and more financial products so that different businesses, whether you're an SME or an individual seller or on the enterprise side, you have all the tools so that you can succeed online. And through this financial stack, we're able to enable more and more entrepreneurs, hopefully accelerating the growth of the internet economy, right? So that's the whole thinking around what we do. So just some macroeconomic factors that we are currently betting on is that the Philippines internet economy is going to grow a 5x or even more. Actually, I think this is from the older report, but they updated this, and we're actually the fastest growing internet economy in Southeast Asia right now, due to many factors. But of course, given the COVID pandemic has really accelerated the shift to online. And so if you guys are currently use marketplaces or shop online, we really are just at the start of this shift towards e-commerce, and the shift is going to be nothing short of exponential over the next 5-10 years, right? So digital payments as a result of that also is growing and has been growing. So from 2013 to 2018, it grew 10x alone, and we have BSP who has very aggressive targets of digitizing payments in the Philippines, right? So, and COVID-19 has also accelerated the need for businesses to go online extremely fast, right? So, with all of these macroeconomic factors, the thinking really is that there needs to be payments infrastructure or financial infrastructure so that businesses can succeed over the next 10 years in going online, because there will be so much growth there. And so the question for us is, that keeps us up at night is how are ways or what are financial products related to payments or even beyond payments, like say lending or whatnot, that can enable businesses to ride on that growth. So just thinking about ourselves as entrepreneurs, what would have helped us when we were starting out building our own companies as well, right? So that's the whole thinking today. So we provide services for companies of all sizes, from individual sellers, as I said, yung mga nagbebenta lang sa IG and FB. A lot of those popped out over the pandemic. So some of the larger enterprise clients, right? Beauty Manila, Moment Group, Shakey's, Bose, Nike. These are some of the 15,000 merchants that we currently have on the platform. We also work with other startups, tech startups like us, like Kumu. If anyone here uses Kumu, Investagrams, Goodwork, PDAX, which is a trading platform. So like I said a while ago, we started because payments services can be painful for merchants. There's a lot of long negotiation and paperwork, complex API documentation, further integrations, their customer support, all of these were some main pain points that we saw when we started the company, and our platform currently solves. So I'll get a little bit more into the products that we offer. So we make that all easy with Paymongo, right? So our just an overview of our products. Currently, we have what we call payment links. We have an open API that anyone can integrate into their app, their website, or whatnot. And we offer e-commerce plugins. And then maybe later I can share a little bit about sort of what's next for the company, where we're headed. So payment links, which actually was our first product, it's the idea for this was to be able to really create something that would serve that would cater to the most underserved segment of the market, right? And when we looked at the market and we started the company in 2019, we saw that while the banks and the legacy payment providers were catering towards more of the enterprise, no one was really looking at those selling on Facebook or Instagram. And the Philippines actually has a very strong social selling culture. So as you guys know, there's a lot of micro businesses that use these social media platforms as their platform to sell, right? But the question was, how do we create something so that we can accept payments through those channels, right? So we came up with the idea of payment links, which is an easy way to collect credit card, e-wallet payments, or what have you through Messenger, Instagram, or whatever messaging platform, right? So how it works is that you go onto the Paymongo dashboard, you create a link, you put how much you want to charge the customer. Say I want to charge 500 pesos for a Beta Epsilon t-shirt, and you can send that to anyone just by copy pasting the link, right? So when you copy paste the link, your customer is led to a checkout page, and they can select any payment method they want and successfully pay using their phone, desktop, and through any messaging platform, right? So it takes away the need to make a website, and makes it very simple for micro entrepreneurs or micro businesses to collect payments. And I think we also use this at Beta Epsilon for donation payments from time to time. So from that idea, serving micro entrepreneurs, we've seen payment links be used in different use cases as well. So automatically, the payment once paid reflects on the Paymongo dashboard. So it's also very easy for the merchant or the business to reconcile. After we did that in 2019, shortly after we worked on releasing our APIs, so that businesses can really customize their payment workflows or payment experiences. And we spend a lot of our time on this product because this is a core of our service, right? Our APIs. So we're able to provide our APIs in a way that we can offer a quick and seamless integration process, right? So I think confidently we can say that we're probably the easiest and best designed API. And we publish this online so that anyone, even just people who are testing out their projects, can come to paymongo.com and try to test out our payment APIs, right? So you don't need to be handling real money to be able to test our products out. So our goal here is to cut down integration time from weeks to just days, and really cater to more of the developers in the country who wanted a better way to integrate payments into their products, right? So here is us powering Kumu, for example. And we also offer e-commerce plugins for those selling on Shopify, Magento, WooCommerce. We've seen a lot of merchants over the pandemic use these e-commerce platforms to sell, right? So we also offer plugins for that. Allows you to integrate us in just a couple of minutes in some instances. Right. So, for example, with the Shopify plugin, it just takes less than 5 minutes. You go into the dashboard, and you just put in your payment keys into your Shopify dashboard, and you're all set, right? So, yeah, all of this payment information we consolidate into just one dashboard where you can view all of your payment information, what payment links you've created, which are paid. All of them are viewed in real time, and so it's very easy for merchants and businesses to track how much money they've processed, which previously was very hard and manual. If you were to do this with other older banks or payment gateways. So just a couple of case studies here. And I think these are quite interesting because a lot of them had to do with companies who had to make very quick shifts towards online or e-commerce due to the pandemic. Yeah. So one of them would be Shakey's, for example. They needed a contactless payment option for hotline deliveries. This is a business that they were growing, especially with the lockdown. Deliveries became a huge part of their business, and so the solution that they currently use with us is that they use payment links to collect Visa, Mastercard, GCash, and GrabPay payments. Right. So you call up Shakey's if you ask for delivery and you ask to pay via credit card. They use our payment links, and it significantly boosted the revenues during the lockdown because people who wanted their food delivered could now easily pay through Messenger or through SMS even. Right? Another case study is PH Red Cross. We power PH Red Cross, which is the largest platform for PCR testing online. And so they needed to set up an online platform that accepts most payment methods ASAP, and they were able to launch a website with us in less than 1 week. And till this day, we process their payments, and we were able to allow them to go online in just a very short amount of time, and we power all of their COVID-19 tests. Digital Walker is another one. They needed contactless payments due to the high demand of electronics during the lockdown. And they use our payment links so that they can utilize sales channels like Messenger for their sales. So yeah, just some other stuff about Paymongo is that, of course, we're very compliant with all of the most rigorous security standards. And one interesting thing is that we've actually tried to quantify also how much money merchants save with us because both of our products, this is an exercise that we always do. And also because of our systems, like how we're able to invest in security and fraud. And we also invest a lot in this, and we have one of the lowest fraud dispute rates, for example, in the industry, right? Which actually saves our merchants a ton of money. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But I wanted, I guess, to touch, since it's a more intimate talk, about like sort of what's next for Paymongo. As I said, just in summary, we started out with a simple pain point that we wanted to solve, which is payments. And over the next couple of months, a huge focus of ours is really to make sure that we're able to churn out more products that would allow more types of businesses to accept payments online. Right? So adding more types of payment methods, supporting more business use cases for payment acceptance is the core of our business. But fundamentally, as I've said, as a company, our mission really is to be able to provide other financial services or whatever financial services that can potentially or could potentially help businesses go online, right? So currently, we are securing different licenses with BSP with the goal of thinking about what financial services might be able to support any entrepreneur or business that might want to go online in the future, right? So there's a lot of exciting stuff that we have lined up. And yeah, if you guys want to keep posted, do follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And you can check out our website, paybonga.com. So yeah, thank you guys very much.
All right, thank you so much as well for sharing your story. At least personally for me, I really love hearing the background behind PayMongo, because I've known about the company for a while, and it was nice to hear kind of like what you guys went through, and what it took to really like propel PayMongo to where it is now. So anyway, I think I'm not the only one here who's excited to hear more about PayMongo. And so now we are going to have a quick Q&A section for Mr. Luis. Again, attendees, you may take this time to submit any additional questions you have to the Menti link sent in chat, or you can use the code shown on screen as well. I have one question actually. Are you all right? It is 4 a.m. What's the story behind that?
Yeah, no, I'm currently on a business trip now, so I'm in the US ako ngayon, bro. So, pero okay naman.
Okay, staying strong. Okay. In just a second, I think the Menti screen is going to be shown, and then we can just quickly run through the questions, so you can get back to resting, siguro. Okay. All right. So the first question is, where is the cryptocurrency in the future of the economy of the Philippines? And I think you actually did mention PDAX a while ago, which is one of the trading platforms used here.
So no, it's a common question. I wouldn't say I'm like the top expert at cryptocurrency, right? But I think at least for my personal views on this, and I guess I get asked about this because now we're in the fintech industry. I am pretty bullish about cryptocurrency.
Okay.
I do think it's a democratizing technology, and I think inevitably, naman, every democratizing technology like cryptocurrency will find its place eventually. And I think if you look at the applications of cryptocurrency, a lot of it has to do with financial inclusion. But in terms of how fast it will take for technology like cryptocurrency to actually have mass adoption, I think that's something that is yet to be seen. Right now, it's really largely driven by speculation. And trading, sometimes greed as well, right? So we've yet to really see cryptocurrencies be applied at a large scale and see its full potential. But I think in general, I'm very bullish about cryptocurrencies, especially for emerging markets like ours, because of all the its ability to democratize financial services for people. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. Do you have any crypto recommendations? Joke lang.
Offline, sige.
Oh, got it. Okay, so second question for today. How will the current popularity of play-to-earn games impact the Philippine economy, especially during this pandemic? And actually related to the previous question, is it possible the cryptocurrencies may eventually replace fiat currencies?
Play-to-earn games, like it's just like parang mga Axie Infinity.
Yes.
Right. Well, I think, like with specific to play to earn games, I think you asked that because we have a few Philippine companies who
Yeah.
are currently innovating there. I definitely think that, at least from my perspective, it's really exciting that we have, or that through companies like Axie Infinity, now we're able to see that, you know, teams of just a few people in the Philippines, from different parts of the Philippines, are able to create products that are used globally. So I think,
Yeah.
at least, from that, sets a precedent that engineers, especially those in the tech industry, can start companies out of the Philippines, and really become global companies through stuff like, by innovating in cryptocurrencies or whatnot, right? So, is it possible that crypto can eventually replace fiat? Yeah, definitely. I think, like I said a while ago, we never know how long that would take. And so I guess I think a lot of people ask about crypto from a trading standpoint, but in terms of its actual, um, in terms of value creation, I think we're very far from seeing how it could reach its full potential.
Okay, got it. And I guess like as a follow-up question on my end, parang how would you differentiate like play to earn games to crypto? Because some people say like it's similar, parang you're owning real estate in the game. And
Yeah, no, yeah. So, crypto is, I guess, sort of the underlying technology that allows for, these play to earn games to exist, right? So through the blockchain. So I guess, the games are one of the interesting applications only of that underlying technology. And
of
as I
blockchain.
said, I was just, yeah, of blockchain, of crypto, right? So I think, like, I think it would be really great now to have more of these companies actually have interesting applications of the technology, rather than, like at the start, especially before, it's really highly driven by speculation and greed, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think we can proceed to the next question. All right. Thank you so much. Do the advantages of digital technology outweigh the disadvantages? Ooh, very top heavy, I guess, question.
This is very philosophical. Yeah, no, of course, I personally am of the opinion that, technology has and always will be, a net positive for society. Um, there are many angles to argue the disadvantages of it, but, if we look at, or if we take the perspective of looking at the data of how, the internet, for example, has improved lives not only through job creation, but, actually creating huge new industries. I think it's easy to see that it's a net positive, at least from my perspective.
Yeah. Okay, got it. And I think Doc M would also agree based off his talk just a while ago. Okay. Next question, please, I think. Okay, so do you have a message? Oh, wow. I think this is a very personal question. What is your message to the aspiring entrepreneurs out there in the Philippines?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I think some important things to note, especially, if they're mostly college folks are watching this, is that the Philippines currently is at what I'd say is an inflection point, especially when it comes to tech, right? And that really will open up tons and tons of opportunities over the next 10 years. Really, there won't be any lack of opportunities to ride on sort of that shift towards online over the next 10 years, because it really will be very exponential, at least from my point of view. So I think it's really a perfect time. Something that perhaps aspiring entrepreneurs wouldn't have had 10, 20 years ago. It's really this huge breadth of opportunity that we have in the Philippines as a really fast growing market. Um, Aside from that, knowing that, I'd say that if anyone is interested in pursuing a career in entrepreneurship, definitely give it a try, do your research, reach out to folks like me. There are a lot of we have a nascent but growing community of startup entrepreneurs, and generally people are very helpful as long as you reach out, right? So it's definitely doable. It's definitely possible. We have, entrepreneurs right now spurring from different parts of the Philippines who are building global companies, right? So you don't need a ton of capital to make it happen. And I guess lastly, as I said, if you are considering doing so, I think one thing to realize is other entrepreneurs are often very helpful also. So to reach out to them if ever you're curious about pursuing that.
Okay, got it. So yeah, for the entrepreneurs out there, I guess take that leap of faith and connect with those who are more experienced in the field. I guess a follow-up question to this for me, I guess, would kind of be like, what are the biggest challenges for those aspiring entrepreneurs? Yeah, because I follow, for example, Justin Kan, who like founded Twitch, and he talks about how some entrepreneurs get too focused on the product or to get caught up too much in the idea, that when you should really be focusing on like execution and distribution. And yeah, I guess what's what is the biggest challenge?
Sure. No, I think specifically for entrepreneurs in the Philippines, traditionally the one of the biggest challenge would be raising capital, right? Or setting up your sort of like more of like the technical things in terms of setting up your corporation or your company.
Okay.
I think that like right now things are changing when it comes to that. When it comes to raising capital, things are getting much easier. Foreign investors are looking at the Philippines as a significant market. And there are folks that actually have a side project. It's called 335 Fund, where we put in small checks for companies, and so there's a growing ecosystem around entrepreneurship in the Philippines that could solve the problem of like raising capital and advising entrepreneurs. But I think like usually becomes the biggest challenge, especially for those starting tech companies in the Philippines, that they don't really know how to go about things like fundraising or how to set up their companies. But that's something that I think, as I said a while ago, we're definitely open to helping out with as well.
Got it. Okay, so nice to hear, I guess, that you're going for like mentorship opportunities in a sense, and really helping other startups kind of grow. All right, I think we can move on to the next question. Okay, how can the Philippines cope with the technological advancements without the consequence of major brain drain? So I think it's like, how do we keep up with it, I guess, is what it's asking.
Right. Brain drain, so meaning folks leaving, right? I think as long as entrepreneurship is a huge it would be a huge solution to this, actually. If like most of the smart people that we produce from UP and our engineering courses stay in the Philippines, and we're able to really efficiently put capital into the best talent in the Philippines. I think there's no reason for talent to leave, right? And I think that's currently what we're seeing right now. Like with scaling a company like Paymongo, we need really a lot of like computer engineers, for example, right? And a lot of these folks, are really just looking for the right jobs that could support all of their goals, financially and whatnot. So if we have more companies start grassroots from the Philippines, I think that's one way that we could really foster engineering and talent in the Philippines.
Yeah, if anything, I think Paymongo would be the shining example of that success locally, despite
Hopefully,
but despite having support like abroad. You mentioned like Y Combinator, Stripe, but then you guys still went back, and I think that's a great story to be sharing and to be like showing to, again, the aspiring entrepreneurs of our generation. Okay, next question. Yeah, hope you're not getting too brain drained from all these questions.
No problem.
But yeah, does your company open internships for those who want to learn more about the back end of operating companies such as Paymongo? And
yes, of course we do. We're always open. We're in terms of internships, we're pretty flexible. So it depends on what your background is and sort of what the state of the company is at the time. So, but if you're interested, just shoot an email. It's luis@paymongo.com. I'd love to take a look and see where we can fit you in.
Okay, awesome. And beyond that, Paymongo again also has channels on LinkedIn if you guys want to stay updated with the latest like job postings for them. And yeah. Okay, I think we're on to the last question. Again, we do have a little bit of time left, so if any of you want to like follow up any additional questions, you may through the Menti link in the chat. Okay, so now what are the biggest challenges? Oh, very similar to the question asked a while ago. What are the biggest challenges in terms of expansion and increasing market standing? Did your company face against your competitors? And yeah, you mentioned you guys got 15,000 partners, and I think you made it sound a lot easier and made it look a lot easier than it really was. And so could you like shed some light on the challenges there?
Right. Yeah. Actually, like funnily enough, I think we have a very clear roadmap of things that we want to build in terms of products, right? But in terms of if being a tech company, a lot of or almost all of your leverage is with the people that you have in the company. For us, primarily, like it's being able to scale the team fast enough so that we could launch a lot of these things in our pipeline. Right? So, actually see this as scaling the company as really like a people problem. Like we really want to be able to scale fast. To be able to scale fast enough, we need to be able to get the best talents out there. And I think that ties back to the question a while ago of sort of like brain drain, right, in the Philippines. So one of the biggest challenges that we face is that given all of the stuff that we want to build, how are we able to get all of the best engineers, for example, and the best people to join us? Especially with the pool that we have in the Philippines, we hire mostly locally, almost exclusively locally. And so a huge part of that challenge is getting people with a lot of potential. And we do a lot of training within the company as well. Right? So we don't get just folks who have a ton of experience, but we also get people who are just starting out and trying to scale that within the company so that we're able to produce really great talent within Paymongo. Right. So I think that's how we see it when it comes to competing with their competitors, at least from my perspective.
All right. So having a star-studded team is very important in terms of standing out against other competitors. And I guess it's nice to hear as well that, despite being a startup, there's still a lot of training that's going on inside the startup. I think that's rare to hear, I guess, in a sense, because normally, like, when you have a startup, you want to go fast, you want to go hard, you got to get those who are experienced. But in the case of PayMongo, again, nice to hear that you're also looking for potential and not just those who already have the skills to excel. Okay, so I think that brings us to the end of our Q&A session. I think now we can move on to the token of appreciation for the lecture for this whole session. So I will now read that certificate, and I quote, the UP Beta Epsilon Fraternity presents this certificate of appreciation to Mr. Alejandro Luis Escia, BE16, for sharing his valuable knowledge and expertise on Fast and Furious, growing the internet economy of the Philippines during the Distinguished Alumni Webinar Series held on August 14, 2021, signed by Jose Rafael Harlos, Rendel Para, Sydney C., all co-chairmen of the 92nd anniversary of UP Beta Epsilon. Mr. Luis, I don't know if you are able to, but would you be open to turning on your camera for a quick picture to celebrate the certificate? All right, so good morning. I think it's around like 5 a.m. there already. So without further ado, quick screenshot. 3, 2, 1, cheese. All right, so thank you so much again for really taking the time out of your busy day, out of this business trip to really give this talk and share your experiences as a startup founder to us, I guess, to our generation of engineers. And yeah, thank you again so much, Brod Luis.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks so much, Brod.
Okay. Thank you again to our participants for listening to that second talk. Without further ado, we are moving on to the final and most anticipated segment, the raffle giveaways. Okay, so hopefully our participants are still alive and well. I see that we still have over 100 participants here on call. Again, reminder to those who maybe came in late that unfortunately, like only our registered participants who are present for the entire duration of the Zoom call since the start of the first speaker's lecture, Doc M, are eligible for the drawing. And as stated in the email given to each of you as well. So again, a review of the attendance duration per raffle winner will be done after the Zoom call. So basically, that's just fact checking, making sure that you were actually there for the entire duration. And only then will you receive your prize. All right, so if I'm not mistaken, I am now being told that our moderators have gathered the names of said individuals, eligible individuals, in the hopes of being the lucky winners. All right, so I'm just gonna give a couple more seconds, I guess, for the team to settle that, to get things fixed up before we start the actual raffling of prizes. In the meantime, if you are excited to win some of our prizes, we're gonna have 10 winners of 200 pesos, one winner of 1,000 pesos, and one very lucky winner winning 2,000 pesos. Wow. All right, so if you're excited to win some of these cash prizes, give us some quick party/celebration reacts in the Zoom call. Yeah, all right. We have a lot of our participants excited to earn some cash prizes. I guess this is a payoff for staying throughout this entire session. Not only did you learn, you also have a chance to win some cash prizes. Awesome. All right. So for the tech team, as soon as you're ready, you may share the screen of the participants of the randomizer that we will be using to select our 12 lucky winners. Hi. All right, so we have the names up. Hope you're all sitting tight. Basically, the way this is gonna go is we're first going to randomize the 10 winners of 200 pesos. No violent reaction, so that's right. Next, we're going to be selecting the one winner of 1,000 pesos. And then we'll be selecting the very lucky winner of 2,000 pesos. All right. So for our participants out there, are you ready? If you are ready, do a quick clap reacts. Let's get a round of applause from our participants here in the Zoom call. All right. I feel like I am in Wowowee, getting ready to give out the 200. Okay, so last, I guess, 10 seconds to figure things out. Make sure we have things all set up. Anyone who hasn't yet, who is like AFK, if you have friends who are AFK, tell them to come back. We're about to present our raffle winners. Okay. So, without further ado, I think we can get on to the first prize. 10 winners of 200 pesos. Tech team, if you are ready, can you guys also give me a quick thumbs up? Okay, we are good on the tech side team. Now we will begin the countdown for, again, the 10 winners of 200 pesos. Drum roll, please. In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, we have our 10 winners. If your name is on screen, you may turn on your camera and give us like a celebratory cheer. Ayan. So sa mga may 200 pesos, meron na kayong pambili ng KFC or Jollibee towel. Congratulations to you all. Maria Victoria Taller, Mark Christian Lama, Jika Angel, I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing your names wrong, Kate Montero, Alvin Manuel, Veronica Magtoto, Mark Alaurin, Ivy, Suzette Algoso, Darren Laporteza, Luis Rafael. Congratulations to you all. You have all won 200 pesos. All right. So thank you all. I think we can take a quick picture at the end. So for those of you with your cams on, you can turn them back off if you are shy. That is all good. Okay. Whew. Now we are moving on to our penultimate prize of 1,000 pesos. Wow, what a big price increase or raffle price jump in a sense. Okay. Now I'm just waiting on the tech team to make sure that we're not getting any repeat names. Tech team, as soon as you're ready, you can do a quick thumbs up. In the meantime, sa mga participants natin, if you are excited to win 1,000 pesos, let us know in chat what you would use that 1,000 pesos on. Maybe a Valorant Battle Pass, maybe a new headset. Who knows? Let us know in the chat. Give it a go. Okay, thank you for lowering the music. Oh, baka ma-copyright tayo. We'll see. For our live streams on Facebook and YouTube. All right, we're getting hashtag blessed. Okay. So tech team, I think we can proceed now to the one winner of the 1,000 pesos. If there are any violent reactions, let me know now, tech team, before we proceed. Okay. So without further ado, we are now onto the 1,000 peso prize. Times 5 of actually the 200 peso prize. So wow, big congrats to you in advance, whoever you are. Again, without further ado, drum roll please, and quick countdown. 3, 2, 1, and our winner is... I think that's already our winner from our first roll. Luto. Our participants are out crying. Okay, so I think we're gonna have to pick again. Let me double check. I think Jika is also in the original draw. Yes. I think we're gonna have to pick again. There we go. Thea Batugal, congratulations on winning 1,000 pesos. And there we have our winner, Thea Batugal. If you are there, if you're not shy, you can also on your cam give a message to our viewers out there. Pwede kang magyabang if you want. Let us know what you will buy with your 1,000 pesos. Ayan. Yeah, so congratulations again, Thea, for winning 1,000 pesos. Okay. It is fun giving away money to our raffle prize winners. This is surprisingly fun. But now, thank you. Thank you po. Okay, no problem. Shy po ako. Okay, no problem. Okay. Again, what do you intend to do with the 1,000 pesos? Maybe you intend to buy some cryptocurrencies. Who knows? Shopee po. All right. Feeding the mobile commerce or social financing. Social financing that was mentioned by Sir Sia a while ago. Hey, excellent. Okay. So, tech team, siguro pahinaan yung music again ulit for our final draw. Our final raffle winner of 2,000 pesos. Wow. Okay, so I times 10 of the 200 pesos. So whoever is winning this prize is a very lucky individual indeed. So ayan, sa mga hindi pa nanalo ng 200 pesos or 1,000 pesos, don't worry. We still have one final prize to give for today at least. If you are excited, give us a quick party reacts in the Zoom chat. Don't give up hope yet. We still have one prize left and the best prize actually for today. Okay. So tech team, without further ado, I think we can start the countdown. So 3, 2, 1, and our winner is Jamilia Hillboy. Huge congratulations! You have just won 2,000 pesos from our raffle draw. This DAO session number 1. Jamila, sorry, correction, Jamila. Okay, congratulations, Jamila, on winning 2,000 pesos for attending today's DAO session. Nice. So hindi lang learnings from our two speakers, but also 2,000 pesos. Ayan. So let us know in chat, what will you be spending the 2,000 pesos on? Congrats. Congrats not only to Jamila, but congrats to all of the winners of today's raffle. We will contact you shortly after the webinar to instruct you for the collection of prizes. And again, don't forget to answer the feedback form so that you may receive your prizes as well as certificates of attendance in case you want to flex on LinkedIn or Facebook or any other of your social media channels. Ayan. And so ideally, all of you should have received the link to the feedback form included in the emails provided to you. Ayan. And again, the deadline for the answering of said feedback forms will be August 15, tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. Okay, and yeah, Jamila has mentioned that they will be buying clothing pieces. Okay, nice. Para sa work from home, siguro, or online classes. Okay. So now we are inviting all of our participants to join a quick photo op. So those of you who are not shy, if you want to join a quick group photo, ayan, so that's a sample image of the certificate of participation for those of you who answer the feedback form. So please do so. And very important as well for our raffle winners. Okay. So again, for those of you who are not shy, you can turn on your cameras for a quick group photo op, especially for our raffle winners who want to flex their raffle winnings as well. Okay, sorry. I'll remove my spotlight in the meantime so we can all be seen. Yes, to our winners. Our winner, Thea, na shy again. Okay. So I think one of our tech team members will be taking the screenshot. Ayan, our winners. Hello to you all. Okay. So without further ado, we'll give 5 more seconds for people to turn on their cams for those who wish to join the group picture. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now we're gonna take the pictures. Quick countdown. You can all start smiling now. 3, 2, 1, and cheese. Okay. Thank you all. Quick second page, sorry. Quick second page picture. 3, 2, 1, cheese. All right. So thank you all to our participants for attending today's DAOS event. We do want to let you know that this is not yet the end for the DAOS session for this year. And in fact, we want to take some time today to thank some of the sponsors that have helped make our event happen. We did have a number of sponsors aside from the organizations who helped make this happen. So we do have alumni broads from the previous batches, batch 58, batch 74, 84. Thank you all for your sponsorships. In addition, next week, we are also having another session to be hosted naman by Engineer Rafael Nestor Mantaring, talking about the emerging engineer. We also have Engineer John Aldre Jota, who will discuss the innovations on navigating death and coping with loss. And this is all happening next week, August 21, Saturday, same time, 3 to 5 p.m. Ayan. And more importantly, also attend that session to get the chance to win the Nescafe coffee machine, Dolce Gusto, if I'm not mistaken, Dolce Gusto. So ayan, so mga coffee addicts natin here in the participants, please do attend our event next week as well if you want to win the very much prized coffee machine. Okay, so last but not the least, we want to thank again UP Mining Metallurgical and Materials Engineering Association in partnership with this distinguished alumni webinar series. Thank you so much. And also in cooperation with UP Chemical Engineering Society. And last but not the least, UP Manila Peer Empowering Peer Society for making this event happen. Again, my name is Andrew Consero, and on behalf of the UP Beta Epsilon fraternity, this was session 1 of the Distinguished Alumni Webinar Series. We hope to see you all again next week, and thank you so much for attending. Stay healthy and have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you, Norika, for the vote of confidence. Thank you all participants. Have a great weekend, guys.
Thank you po.
All right, no problem.
Hi. Hi, hello po. Thank you rin po.
Okay. You're welcome. Anytime. After next week, come back again next year for the next series of DAOs or DAOs. Ayan. May pakulo na for next year's session. Yes, sana face-to-face. Sana indeed. And so our tech team, if you want to play some K-pop, go ahead.